There you go, yo. This is the goddamn LowRoad. This is episode 23.
Word.
And who is my special fucking guest this evening?
Shit, Goldfacemoneywatch.
Goldfacemoneywatch. Let me start off real quick. How you doing today?
Shit, I'm great. It's a beautiful day.
I met this gentleman at this little networking party the other day. He came in, he was lit, setting stuff up, making sure everything went well. Provider of electronics and such to get the movement going. And 6 days later, he came through like a real dude and brought his skateboard and shit to do the interview with me, and I appreciate it, man. So let's start off by saying, where you from, bro?
I'm from the Heights.
And for my millions and billions of followers, where is Heights at? Because not everyone...
Cleveland, like suburb of Cleveland, like...
Suburb of Cleveland. Tell me a little bit about growing up in the Heights, my man.
It's just, like, a lot of variety. I don't know, it's just it's just, like... I don't know, it's artistic. It's hella, like, artistic and shit.
And when you were growing up in Heights... What kind of shit did you get into as an adolescent, as a child, as a kid? Kind of kid was Goldfacemoneywatch?
Well, I went to Catholic school till I was like 10, and then for some like weird reason, like when I was 11, I moved out to Amish country with my mom for a year, and that was where I really like. That's also where like my memories start for real. That's when I started like being bad and shit and listening to like metal and fucking.
Out in the Amish country?
Yeah, because, you know, it'd just be like country motherfuckers just be tyrant. Like,
is it boring out there?
I guess at that time or that age, like, you could say that, but I don't really be bored. Like, I love to go out there now because, you know, it'd be like, if you go out there now, it's like with a purpose or something. Like, it's like an escape or like, you know what I'm saying, a trip out. But like, at that, it was just like, that was just really when I like started like being like, you know what I'm saying, like what you just said, like on some like troublemaker. I always, you know,
always kind of get into it a little
that's
bit.
Always been my spirit. Like I just,
just mischievous or whatever. I'm the same way, bro.
No authority for me. Like
fuck all that shit. Fuck the rules. Fuck the man. All that.
For sure.
Yo, okay, anyway. So when you was when you were out in Amish country, how did that start getting you into the metal and shit? Like what happened all of a sudden were like homies just giving you the
CDs,
fucking
corn. Like at first I would like see the t-shirts and shit because like at Catholic school you wear uniforms and shit, and like all of a sudden like, you know, I just was infatuated by the aesthetic, and it's like there was probably a Hot Topic accessible out there, like. And so, like, you know, I would just see all the, like, I was in 6th grade, I would just see, like, all the 7th and 8th graders, they would wear, like, Slipknot and Mushroom Head t-shirts and shit.
Hell yeah.
And, like, just over time, like, you know, you used to be able to, like, get that shit on MTV, too. They would have, like, Headbangers Ball and shit, like, at night. Right. And, like, you know, like, that's just the age that I came into, like, Beavis and Butthead, like Slipknot, like just all that type of shit. Like, but yeah, it'd be boring out in the country. So yeah, we was definitely like on some trouble.
We all tipping cows
type shit. I never literally did that. I know people that do that. Like, I still got some like good ass like little young homies that be like fuck with the trippy shit out there. So like they'll host me. Like I go like out there to get away from, like, still to this day, like, you know what I'm saying, I just went out that way after, like, a show, like, 2-3 months ago, like, I just decided, like, I would just ride back, you know, it'd be, I ain't gonna speak too much, I ain't gonna, like,
yeah, we can get off, yeah, we can get off that. Okay, so let's fast forward then. What was your first, because I know you was Goldfacemoneywatch the rapper. Mm-hmm. I did run into a little bit of the rock, alternative punk music as well, and you did show me some stuff previous to this interview. But what was your first venture in the music? Was it a rap song? Was it a band? Did you just start picking up guitar? Like, what started it all?
I started playing guitar first when I was like 10, but I guess it's funny because we were supposed to get off that 6th grade shit, but like that same year, that was like when like I don't know, my family had got like a EMAC or whatever, like that, when the shit came
with the Max with the color backs.
Well, that was first, but then when they dropped the next one after that, that's when they started coming pre-installed with GarageBand and shit. Because
yeah, it had like the little mic.
Yeah,
the mic in the bottom part of that shit.
Yeah, hell yeah. So I would like, that was really like, I had like a guitar, but I would also just like fuck around with like the loops in there and then use the computer mic and like rap. Like I was like literally, and then I put the shit on iTunes and burnt CDs like when I was like 11 and would like I would pass that shit out at school like to like girls and shit. Like they just thought I was funny, like, cause I was being funny. Like I was just like silly shit, like, like as like an 11-year-old boy, like just, what I'm saying, like influenced by Beavis and Butthead, like just thinking like that type of shit funny and shit. Like I still watch Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill and shit every day. Mike Judge is the GOAT. Like, but like I just mean in the sense of like childish humor, like, what I'm saying? I was just like making CDs, like rapping with like childish ass humor and passing it out when I was like 11.
Bruh, did you ever play the Beavis and Butthead game? Remember that shit?
But I just fell asleep. I just started falling asleep to like a stream of it. If you're talking about the one called Virtual Reality,
I don't know. It's one where you have to get the pieces of the ticket. They want to go to the show, and you have to find these pieces of the tickets that got ripped up. It's like an old Sega game.
Word. I started like, cause I be in weird like portals on YouTube for real. Like especially lately, like I be trying to find like the creepiest shit on YouTube I could watch. But like separate from that, sometimes I want to put on some calming shit. So like I like fall asleep to like somebody playing like a 1996 like Beavis and Butthead like PC game or something. Like I don't know.
Who do you like better, Beavis or Butthead?
I always related more to Beavis, I feel like.
What is it about you that gets people to work with you like that? Because I feel like for some people it's hard. But for you, it seems like you just got that shit in the bag. Like people just like love to work with you.
I just be like, I be in the scene, like, I mean, it's just like, it's all natural. I don't reach out to anybody. It's not like that. Like I'm so like ingrained in like the cultural, like, I mean, just like the Cleveland music scene's like history for real, like that it just, I don't know. I just always been there for real.
Huh. So it's just your experience and just being around. People just fuck with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm big, bro. Like in a lot of situations, are just like, I'm in my second kind of wave, like right now, like of like since I've been out of jail, it's like new beginnings in a lot of ways, because I already like done told my story that was like legendary. You feel me? But
your story, the Goldfacemoneywatch story, we figured out the Amish country stuff. Clearly, you peaked in high school. Apparently, Sam Hyde or whatever thinks that. But now we're into adulthood. We're talking about jail and psychedelics and shit.
All right, the Goldfacemoneywatch story, like,
yeah. Is there a story to be told?
Yeah,
I feel like generations from now, it's one of those things where you'll be able to go deep in a crypt or like a pyramid or something, find that magical book, blow it off, and I have your fucking face on it. I have the GFMW on there, and it's got the old tales, you know what I'm saying? What's some of that I can hear?
I mean, so I guess really my like introduction was like, so I went from like the petty ass shit when I was 11, and then like really stayed petty for a while, like far as like me and my friends like trolling, like before that was even really a word, but we used to just try to be on like the most offensive shit.
Yes.
But at the same time, so when I was like 15 or 16, like, you know, so I was doing that shit. I was like, I had like a group of homies that we was making like just the most offensive, like borderline, like, you know what I'm saying? We was like not even into like juggalo shit, but like we could like snatch up that fan base because it was just like that type of just like offensive ass shit. Like, and we was trying to like literally like we was like taking the fucking bus to like fucking Peabody's, like doing if you remember like then like that business model of like selling tickets to perform type shit, like to open for whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? But we was so like, between all the schools we went to and shit, we was so fuck around like just popular enough, not on no like the jocks, or just popular in the sense of like being like the most, like, I guess, like confident of the weird kids, that like we would fuck around selling enough tickets to like go on right before Chip when we were 15, and it's like they just went by that business model. So it's like I can only imagine like Chip the Ripper just in the back like smoking his blunt circa 2008 or some shit, like, and fucking it's these kids on fucking, there's these 15-year-olds on stage like rapping about fucking like necrophilia or like some weird shit, like dog fighting or something. Like, I don't know, like we were just trying to piss people off.
Did it work?
People liked, I mean, people, you know what I'm saying? People laughed at that shit. They liked that shit. And then in the same token, like me and my bro 16, that was like in that group as well, but he was like more like just like, he would just be the singer sometimes when it had hooks, like, but me and him had like a little side project of like kind of electro pop that in retrospect was like real ahead of its time, and we were like 15 just making this shit that's like there's this real like auto-tuney kind of like electric pop music and shit, and like he RIP now and shit, so that's why I like had to make sure to shout him out. But like fucking it just like so I always was like, I always had like the serious side of like pursuing more things, but I didn't have the confidence myself. So like, you know, I would be like the producer. I stayed in a lot of things as like a fucking producer relationship. Like I had, you know, I was not the vocalist like for like the longest time for real. And then so around that same time when I was 16, was when I met MGK, and he kind of turned me up. To an extent. But he would like fuck around like, and it's like there's actually an obscure ass video online, but it's stupid, but it's like he literally tells the story of like he wouldn't even know what this is. Like, you know what I'm saying? But some kid, he used to like pull up to, when he was on his come up, he would like pull up to high schools as they was letting out and like perform his music type shit. And
Did
so
he have
like
that fucked up that PT Cruiser?
Nah, he didn't have a PT Cruiser. He didn't have a PT Cruiser at that time.
I just remember that shit. Go ahead.
But I mean, that for anything, like, you know what I'm saying, his grind was like remarkable, and like, but so like some high school kids that was interviewing him type shit, because he had graduated at that point, or was like no, he was like 19 at that time, like, so. But, you know, they asked him like my gov, because that's what I went by at the time. I wasn't Goldfacemoneywatch then. Like, oh, we heard you got some shit, and he told the whole story. Like, yeah, like he was like, yeah, like the computer, like my computer broke, and I put out a thing like who got Pro Tools, blah 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 blah, and like basically just talking about it. And then he's like, and then I went pulled up to pick bro up, found out he was 16. I was like, ooh, there's some candy getting my ride type shit. It's like, you know what I'm saying, But, you know, I just got one of them auras, you know what I'm saying? And he was, like, one of the first people that told me that, like, you know what I'm saying? He didn't necessarily know I was ever going to, like, be what I am not. Like, you know what I'm saying? But he just told me, he was like, you have that aura. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know you're going to be something. You know what I'm saying? And nobody had ever really told me that. Like, and he used to just put me on to, like, a lot of game for real at that stage. Like,
that's awesome.
But once for sure. Like, but, you know, eventually once he started blowing up, I'm the type of person, I always have my own shit going on. So I would, you know what I'm saying? I'm worried about being fucking 16 years old, 17 years old at the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't.
You still worry about Goldface.
Yeah, for sure. But, you know, but like I always respect that role that he played in, like, you know what I'm saying, me as a young person, like as like a, and then the other kind of mentor for me around the time was Nate Fox, like the producer.
I'm not hip to Nate Fox.
He produced like acid rap for Chance and shit. But
Oh, hell yeah.
But he was like running a studio like in Cleveland, like, and he kind of took me on the producer side, took me under his wing and shit. But so basically, what had happened was when he moved, he would like move back and forth sometimes, like, and so when he would go out of town, at some point between like kind of his cosign and like MGK's cosign, I just kind of got a lot of studio notes, like, I mean, like, and I owned Pro Tools, but I barely could use it. But so like I started just like running a studio out of like my parents' basement when I was 16. And, you know, they were still very like green as far as like, you know what I'm saying? Like now they fully, you know what I'm saying, rock with everything I got going on and shit. But
they get it
I had to blaze the path. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're going to worry instantly as soon as they like, you know, like when parents smell like weed smoke just coming up. And what's crazy is like I was dead straight edge at that age, like, but I was running a studio, you know what I'm saying, and like
people bringing their weed, bro.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like it was just what like, but it just like definitely like, but so I was like running like a $5 hour studio, like, and so it was like
that's for the low, man. Goldfacemoneywatch got the studio time for the low, man.
So that's how like the word spread. So like first I was rocking with this group Purple Monkey Circus. Yeah. And then them on my bro, and then through them like Tezo and Kimball, and then like it just kind of like kept, you know, I remember like one of the coolest things at that age in that era was like I remember like when Al Fats came over, like, you know what I'm saying, and my mom yelled at him for smoking a blunt. That shit, like it was just like. But like when I was that age though, that shit was turned to me. But so
that's so cool, man.
Slowly over time though, and nobody was fucking with my beats at that period. Like, you know what I'm saying? My beats was weird as fuck, but not even in like the way that they might be weird now. Like it was just like they wasn't even slapping yet for real. But so
hella experimental sounding
and just
type
and not hitting really, but sometimes they would. One of the first people that showed love to my beats was my brother Kick from Dose Money, who ended up, you know what I'm saying, we ended up forming that group like years later. But I just, in that context, you know, he also like was just on some, you know, he had like the Cleveland way, like, you know how like rappers be like at different periods be like getting their shit spun on Z1079 and shit. So like, it was just like, you feel me? But like that was one of the first rappers that like had some shit going in the city that was like would show love to my beats for real, like him and my, you know, but
build some confidence and shit, and like
but so like a lot of times though what would still happen though would just be like from what I like, my lifestyle I guess was kind of like nobody was gonna talk about the shit that I sort of wanted to like hear talked about if I wasn't going to do it, like, because I was like going to raves at that age and shit, or like by the time I was like 17, 18, like, you know, and I was like starting to take shrooms, and so like it was just like I just wanted to hear like that sort of some of that shit,
about some of the shit you're going through.
So I wouldn't even call it going through at that age, but yeah, like I basically like from that when it would be just like after hours where I'd be by myself in the studio, like I was like nervous at first, but I would like put the headphones on and just like, you know, just experimenting. I didn't know how to use my voice at all, and it was all crazy, like, you know what I'm saying? But but I just realized I wanted to be, you know, and it took like probably like 2-3 more years after that before that style really came into like its not its full form, but you know what I'm saying, like,
because it's always growing, you know.
But I would still like rap about a bunch of shit I didn't do at that age. Like when I was like 17, I was just like so influenced by like Juicy J and Lil B that I would just say whatever the fuck, like, you know what I'm saying. And I never was really big into like pharmaceuticals or like those type of drugs, but I was definitely around it a lot. But like and you know, maybe later in life at my most like fucking partying, like depraved point of my life, you know what I'm saying? I don't have my, you know, I don't have my times, but I'm 7.
I try shit, you know. I'm like, I hear the songs, I'm like, what's the hubbub about? You keep taking these songs about these fucking pills. I'm like, all
right.
Let me pop one and see what it's about. You know?
But so at that age, I like really had done very little of that shit, and none of this music is even available, so it's not even that relevant. But like, I would just be like, you know what I'm saying, just imitating what I heard like Juicy J talking about. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it took a while for me to like trim the fat and actually start living a life that was interesting enough to sustain its own like full song where I could literally say shit that I only either did or at least was like very close proximity of, if it was like my friends. Like when I first started rapping about like psychedelic trapping, like whatever the fuck, like I had probably like sold like a couple pounds of shrooms or something like when I was like 18, 19, but like I would be rapping still about sheets and vials and shit because it would be like my fucking roommates had that like, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, like you were still around it, but it wasn't actually yours. I know what you mean. You're kind of like stretching the truth a little.
I was stretched at very, very first, but then it kind of becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy to where once that shit came out and started buzzing and really struck a chord and vibrating with like that psychedelic underground community, that's when people started reaching out to me and being like, yo, let me, you know what I'm saying, without saying too much. That's when
you can say whatever the fuck you want on my shit.
No, I know. I feel shit. I just worry. I'm just saying what I can or can't say for myself. Like,
right.
I really, you know what I'm saying. I got a real boy case. Like my shit ain't no, like, you feel me. I be just conscious. I never used to be conscious about that shit. I used to be wanting to talk my shit until my music was literally used against me in a legal situation, and then it just made me like, fucked, what do I need to, like, what's the minimum I could like get my point across without literally just like giving all the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For sure. But I mean, this is all stuff back in the day, you know?
It's over. Yeah, I mean,
it's been over.
At this point, it's been over 7 years with that shit. Like, it's past statute of limitations, honestly, like, for some of that older shit.
Oh, yeah, like, you know this dude been in court, you talking about statute of limitations. You know the timing and shit. You know what's going on. Wait, let's get into that. So, you know, you were doing your thing. Oh, my favorite songs, by the way, Green Day, Chat Boy Problems, and Like the Ocean. It's hard because you had so much music to just fucking pick three, but I had to put that out there.
That's crazy. Two of them was off the same little EP, like that Chill Out EP or whatever.
Yeah, I think that one really hit me the hardest, I believe, you know? Isn't that weird?
It's weird.
That face like, I don't know. I don't know why.
I mean, you're the only person ever to say that. I mean, like, probably that ever just, like, would pick that EP. Like, that EP was just kind of like, actually, I mean, I kind of, you know, I figure we're, you know what I'm saying, you asking some of the same questions as at that party because maybe some of the shit got, you know, lost in translation or whatever. But
I mean, I understood, you know.
Yeah, you know, but basically, like, what I was saying then was just, like, that project was, like, kind of like the morning after type shit of, like, when I had dropped GFMW 2, which is, like, one of my, like, more legendary projects, like, but it's, like, you know, I told you about that Green Day song. Like, that shit was just, like, kind of some stoner shit. Because at that time, like, that was my idea of, like, healing or, like, sobering up would be, like, fucking eating half a tab and, like, smoking, like, 10 backwoods or something. So, like, me and Low was in Believe's basement. And, you know, it was almost, like, circumstantial because, like, me and him ain't really never like kicked it all too heavy like that, but we just happened to be there that day and we happened to both have like, you know, like at least 2 zips on us each to where we could just match each other into oblivion, and we just ended up making that song. So
match each other into oblivion.
Like, and it's crazy because I ain't smoked weed in about like 3 years now or something. So it's 2020. I ain't smoked weed since 2017. So, you know, 2.5, but because I was in jail and then probation and shit. So
yeah, they don't fucking play with the weed, man, with the fucking mota. So tell me about your jail shit, bro. What happened?
Shit.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
You want
a fan had told on me. Like, I was out on bond in Texas for some other petty shit. Like, I was at my homie's show, or like.
Okay, so wait. Let me for the boom. You're out on bond. You just got in trouble in Texas for something.
Yeah.
You're out on bond. You paid your fucking bond, and now you're doing a show, and a fan fucked something up by telling on you.
Nah, it wasn't. It wasn't at a show. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, it was. You know, he wore a wire on me and shit.
Really?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I mean, I'm innocent, but like, but I
Clearly.
but I played guilty. I did, but I'm still on probation for it. Like,
hey man, sometimes you gotta take a deal, bro. Take a plea.
Yeah, no, because I wanted to go to trial, and my lawyer told me that was a bad idea. Like, he was just like, he was like, this is the drug task force. They know your music. You know what I'm saying? You take this to trial. Like, they start showing your music videos. Like,
yeah,
who are you trying to convince? They have you on camera. They have you on wire. They have the fucking evidence. Like, you feel me? It's not like trying to beat like a robbery or something where it's like, okay, who's seen me or who can, you know what I'm saying?
It's just somebody said, oh, I seen this guy, and they got a story.
Right.
This is the guy.
It's like, no, like and I knew it every time. Like, when I would get out the whip with dude, like, you feel me? It's like, I would see like them redneck ass, bald head ass motherfuckers in Durangos with tint, like with sunglasses. And my heart would start racing real fast. I would kind of know what it was, but they never hopped out on me at the time. You know what I'm saying? And they supposed to supposedly, hop out on you, get the buy money back off you, and it just, they came for me later.
Yeah. So, and and at that point you're already fucking in it. It's like you just got to keep going at that point, right?
I mean, yeah, I was so like just high and like drunk in that era. Like, it'd be like, and that shit really hit me like when I was in jail, like when like, I guess that year, like 2017, 2018, like people say like, I guess like the underground kind of like lost a lot of people to drugs or just whatever. Like,
yeah, I mean, they're always saying that.
It's always been the story forever. I mean, it's music, people, rock stars got demons, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
exactly. And the drugs just change pretty much. Like the popular ones just change. It's like the
for
same
sure.
shit.
But like my main thing, like I realized was like just that, you feel me, that it doesn't take what people think it takes. Like, obviously, like I had always been around, you know what I'm saying? I lost my best friend to, you know what I'm saying, to certain shit. Like, but like, I think the common like assumption until like recently was that like, you know what I'm saying, you have to like inject drugs to overdose and die. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what happens when you like, and so, but
that's not just
when
it,
you're
though.
mixing everything with everything, and it's like
fucking liquor with benzos, that shit'll fuck you up.
But like, it's like people be talking, when people list that shit, they be listing two things, like, and I don't even mean to glorify it, but it's like, bruh, like I was literally
this
like,
is important.
Like on some, like my like cocktail would be like, I'm not playing with you, like in one night, like a fucking pint of gin, 8 ball of cocaine, like 0.5 to, and mind you, like a lot of this is getting shared, but like I'm just saying what I'm coming out of my,
what you're prepared to do for the night.
You know what I'm saying? It would be like a ball, it would be like a ball of coke. You know what I'm saying? I'd probably be off like half a Adderall, like, set out like a gram or two of Molly. Fucking, I'm chain smoking backwards the whole time. Fucking probably might have. It got to the point where I probably would throw in like some type of downer in there. Like you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't. To me, like that shit would always really be to like end a bender. But I was like really like geeking. Like I was staying up for like days at a time type shit. Like real like bad shit. Like, and so, but then so as if all that shit wouldn't be enough, then it's like I'm fucking, and then obviously like a million beers, bottles of wine, fucking,
right.
And so then as if that shit wouldn't be enough, then I'm fucking, then the psychedelics are like inconsequential, but on top of that, add 10, 20 hits of acid, like this shit was not.
You're somewhere else at this point.
But this shit was not. Oh, ketamine. Ketamine was a big one for sure too. Mixed in
Ketamine, that's tranquilizer, right?
Yeah, it's an animal tranquilizer.
Nigga, that's fucking crazy though. I got a couple boys. They fuck with that shit. What does that do? You ketamine? Is it like?
It's a dissociative, so it's basically like it's like it'll give you kind of like the desirable like trippy effects of like acid and shit without as much of the head trip, but you will go a lot further on it, but it's like it's a dissociative, so like you'll travel dimensions and like you'll get a head trip and shit, but it's just not going as much into like your soul. Like it's pretty much it'll like it's a numb it's a numb trip, and that's why it's actually like has like addictive potential. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Because it closes off.
They call it hippie heroin for real. Like, but like you could go far out on it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've been like there was like an edible form that's like slightly chemically altered that I was like extra addicted to, but I was eating that shit every day. But you had to be careful. It's like a little pebble would be like kind of like a psychedelic, like a
Friendstone vitamin.
No, less like I'm saying like a little finger dip would be like kind of like psychedelic lean or something. Like you'd be wavy. But if you ate like an actual like hard pebble of that shit, like you would literally be stuck like seeing dead people, and like it was like, you know what I'm saying, interdimensional traveling and shit. But I'm saying all that shit was regular, and all that shit was on top of like enough of the regular drugs to kill someone. I definitely, you know what I'm saying, I got bad like heart history in my fucking family and shit. You know what I'm saying? I could have fucking easily done fucked my heart up.
Shit
like
just exploded in that bitch, man.
And that shit's stupid. Like when I think of how much money I used to spend on fucking that. Not on everything. Everything else was like, I ain't gonna speak too much on it, but like, yeah, like I wouldn't.
You're around. You're hanging out. You're doing rock star shit. Like the drugs,
the
drugs
cocaine
is there, bruh.
Yeah, and I'm saying the cocaine. That's the one thing that it's like, I'm not about to just be that dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have like the time and effort. Like I said, like I'm the prince of the psychedelic underground. That's the one thing that's not my specialty. So that's the one thing that I'm coming out of pocket to other people that is that. You know what I'm saying? I never, you know what I'm saying? I never took a loss on no Molly, no acid, no like, you know. No weed, even like, even if I'm not even damn near, even if I'm only damn near breaking even on weed, I still always had pounds of weed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but the coke is just that one thing that is just like, when I really think about how much money I evaporated into that shit in that era, like that shit is just like
fucking with that blow, my friend,
for nothing. Like that's just for stupid conversations, kind of like all night. Like, but when that shit mixed in with everything, but sometimes like a lot of
that's not my shit though. I'm not like, I don't like coke that much, man. Like obviously people are different, but like I do some of it, and I have fun for like 30 minutes. And then I'm like, all right.
That's the problem. That's why people, that's what fucks you up. You have like fun for 30 minutes and then you want more, or you just get kind of tired and sad, like depending on like.
I'm just trying to smoke it down at that point. I'm just like, I'm sick of this shit. Like getting it in. Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, you good.
You're good.
I don't even remember what I was saying some stupid shit about.
Nah, you're going in. You were going in, bro.
But so when I went to jail and got sober and really had to like look at everything clear-headed, it made me realize that I was here for a reason. Like that, saying all that shit isn't to glorify. It's like to. So I'm saying this to like bring it full circle of why I even said that. Because I'm going to keep it real with people, but I'm not trying to like, because that is what it is. I'm not exaggerating. A lot of people be out here being a negative influence, but then they're not even doing that. So like they're just a negative influence for no reason. Like,
right. They can't even tell you about the repercussions because they're not even doing it in the fucking first place. And
that shit was stupid. It's like if it hadn't been for the amount of money I spent on that dumbass shit, it would be like I would have fucked around and had more lawyer money, bond money set aside. You know what I'm saying? I really left the people that care about me in a fucked up position by the time I caught them second and third cases, because it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like people you know, they got to put money on your books. Like, if you go to jail and you don't have somebody on the streets that love you, or, you know what I'm saying, some people on the streets that love you, like, you feel me? It's just like, you can't do nothing for yourself in there, really, and that's fucked up. So, like, it'd be like,
were people looking out?
I mean,
on your books?
I mean, my family fucked with me, and, you know, I didn't really like to ask anything. Like, it was a couple of my homies that finally, like, toward the very end, you know, I asked, and it, you know what I'm saying, they deal with that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I didn't ever want to ask, because it's like, you know, I just kind of felt like, I don't know. I don't, like, I really felt like.
I understand. Like, you're like, yo, I'm in the situation, like, I ain't gotta ask for no handout.
I just wanted people to keep money on. I just wanted people to keep money on the phone for real. That's like kind of what, even though that just slows your time down a little bit. You don't want to live off the phone, like, you know what I'm saying. But that was like more important to me. Like, I wasn't even trying to be out here like just being gluttonous on ramen noodles and fucking honey buns anyway. Like, you feel me? Like, so it's like, how much is that money on your books even going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I mean, that whole experience really be painful, and that's why it's like,
that is just trauma, man. Just trauma.
And like, I don't know, I did 16 months, and it's like that first year was nothing, but it's like them last 4 months was harder than the whole year. Like, I guess it
why's that?
Cause shit just start to change on the outside, and you start to feel certain shit fade away. And then in my case, I think one of the biggest issues was that I had uncertainty about my out date and shit. So it was like, if I knew for sure, like, okay, this is my time and I'm gonna be flat and get out on this date, you feel me? But if I had to flatten, like, you know what I'm saying, I'd still be in jail right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was at the fucking, you know, it was up to the courts whether I would get probation or not.
Yeah.
Exactly. So having that, even though I had faith and I knew I was going to get out and change my life and do, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was still like, you always going to have that voice in your head that says, but what if not? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure. A little bit of self-doubt if you're going to be able to come back into society and, like, you know, everything's going to be smooth again, or like, you know, luckily, I mean, not luckily you did 16 months, but at least it wasn't a longer stretch. You know, I can only imagine some guys and some women too that do like 10 years, 5 years, and they get out and the phones are different, fucking internet's different, these like, cars are different and shit.
Exactly. I was like sort of just, you know, I remember like having my brain kind of just melted my first day out of my friends playing me like just what was hot or something. You know what I'm saying? It just kind of like,
what the fuck is going on?
It was like, not that I didn't, you know what I'm saying? We had like radios, like in county we had tablets. That was super dope because I could listen to myself. What? I could listen to like what I fucked with. Like,
wait, and you were locked up. You were locked up out of state, right? You were in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Oof. Maybe not oof, because they had tablets. That's fucking.
No, they got better. I mean, they got like Ohio shit has like the JPEG with all the, you know what I'm saying? People listen to music, like got MP3 players in Ohio too and shit. Okay. But in county, so like in the, I mean, it's a money making scheme. They make so much money off like people's like subscription. Like you would have like supervised texting in there, like, you know what I'm saying? They'll have like kiosks. Like, that's pretty common at facilities too, like for you to be able to like literally send a message directly to a phone number, and you pay like 50 cents a message type shit, you feel me?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of like, I knew I had you know what I'm saying? I just, the power of the, you know what I'm saying, like magic, prayer, meditation, whatever. Like, I used to beat my song. Like, I dropped two albums, Go Ties and GFMW Underground. Those were like the two albums I wrote. They're like it's like a double album, and I wrote it all in jail. And I used to, like, you know, walk laps just every day, just beating it on my chest and fucking singing this shit, and it was like all just such a new level from like the music I was making before, like. And so it's like when you repeat, that's one of the things about just like magic or energy is like if you really just like dedicate yourself to a ritual like that every single day, like, you know what I'm saying? There was no way that those albums weren't going to get made. Yeah. But sometimes I would still have that doubt, like, man, I'm writing all this music. What if they just like, you know, what if I just don't ever get to make these, like, so by the time, like this past summer when those albums were just finally out and just sounded exactly how I imagined them to sound and shit, because, you know, then I got out and I had to like actually translate the music. It's like I know the beat, the tempo, the vocals, and I would hear like aspects of like the melodies and the instruments and the beats in my head, but I could only like hear so much of it without actually making it. You know what I'm saying? So I had to really translate this whole, and I had to do like a couple month, like an 8-month like rehab program when I was in there. And so one of the counselors would give me a guitar every other Friday for like 40 minutes. So like I was able to like work out some of the songs, like you know what I'm saying, at least like figure out what key they was in, get some type of reference of like what I was like singing in my head and how it fit to a, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. But people would ask me to like spit that shit. They'd be like, "Hey, hit that rock star chick. She's a rock star chick." Ooh, or like that night I'd be like, nightmare, I don't care. Keep a bad young bitch. She gonna bite my ear, like to ride my face and pull my hair. I be mixing up Molly all in my beer. Hey, rolling up a 3 gram backwood threes is a Molly vacked up in the backpack. Hey, rolling up a 3 gram backwood threes is a Molly vacked up. You know what I'm saying? Shit everyday type shit.
What, did you have any problems in that jail?
Hell no.
Hell no.
Like, you know, my energy's crazy. Like, my energy is different. Like, people take one look at me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's always gonna be like, anywhere you go in life is gonna be like a class clown or somebody that's like, you know what I'm saying, wanna like say something about like my hair or like, you know what I'm saying? There's always gonna be shit like that, but like realistically,
that's just joking on, just joking, nothing serious.
Plus, like I know who I am, like, so I wasn't trying to, like, I'm not gonna say I kept to myself. Like, I was social in there because that's what made the time go. Like, but I wasn't. I just wasn't involved with, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I wasn't,
none of that politic nonsense.
It don't got nothing to do with me, like, because it's like I got, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you know the actual difference, because like I think like, especially like I don't know, some like some people that's not from that will just like sort of romanticize that shit and want to get involved in it. Like a lot of times you'll see like kids that's kind of like more green go to jail and be like, oh, I'm finna like get jumped in on this, and you know what I'm saying? And it's like, bro, like if you're not from that lifestyle of, you know, where shit get real for real, and it's like, since I'm not, but am close with so many people that is, it's like I know you know what I'm saying? I know.
Yeah, why are you, if you weren't doing it outside, why you get locked up and now you're, you know, blood or whatever now? You know, it's kind of, doesn't seem like the best move, bro. You know, niggas are scared in that bitch, man. They want protection and all that shit, or just want to belong or whatever the fuck. So when you got out, did you come straight back to Ohio? Like they let you out and they give you, what, they give like $200 or something? And now you're just like in Nashville.
I don't know. They ain't give me no $200. Like
I thought they give you money when you get out.
They get, if you do like a long ass, like down the road ass prison bid, like they might give you like a bus ticket and $40. And if you sign for it, it's something that like you can't. It's some weird type of agreement. It's their way of getting you to sign some shit that makes them not liable for any lawsuits after the fact of anything that had happened. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but nah, hell no. But yeah, my probation shit, you know, between the states had been worked out like ahead of before they let me out. So yeah,
The boom, you came right back home. That's good. Because it wasn't like a
because like what the fuck?
I
mean, what they gonna make? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I gotta be where, like, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely don't want to speak on my probation or anything like that. That's not even.
It's not fun. It's not fun.
No, I just mean I literally just don't even want to like give any fuel for anything about anything.
Fuck with you or whatever. Well, tell me again. Tell me about the clothes, man.
Shit, I wish I was like really had anything with me for real, but
oh no, it's okay. I'll put some pictures of this shit. When did you start doing? So when did you start with the merch and the clothes and stuff?
Well, I was doing clothes to an extent before I went to jail, but I didn't know how to screen print. Like I would just do like paints and dyes and distressing and shit. But it definitely still had a unique look, and I would wear still pretty much only shit that I had fucked with. Like, but I knew I wanted to level it up because I knew that, you know, I was going to be keeping everything like legal and legit when I got out of jail. So I had found a book about screen printing like on the floor, and I just pretty much like learned it inside out as much as I could without actually being able to do it. And so when I got out, I just got the materials and shit and started just doing it. And then same thing with like sewing, like stitching patches and shit. Like I still can't use I still want to learn how to use a sewing machine and like, you know, do more advanced shit, but I'm not a very like mathematical person. I feel like that type of shit is more for like someone else, but
you still want to try it? I feel you.
Like, far as like just designing like a like woman's dress with like, you know, dimension, like measurements and shit. I don't know if I see myself doing that, but
that's advanced. That's some of that advanced shit.
It's all cool to me, you know.
No, it's dope shit. My boy Eggy does that stuff, man. I'll hook y'all up.
What? Hell yeah.
For sure. He knows how to do all the patches. I wish I had a bag, but whatever. Damn, man. So you're set, bro. You do the fucking. You got your music. You've done how many different genres? No, not gonna say that. You've done rap, ambient and bands, and the electro experimental shit. You've produced, so you've done a little bit of everything. Is there something that you still want to do? You could call that a goal, or just something you've been thinking about experimenting with. Freeform jazz.
I do that. I definitely do that. Easy. That's like. That band I showed you with me believing, son, like, you know, we was pretty much like that for real. Like we was like on some shit like show, you know, how we would open up, like, you know what I'm saying, just like chug some beers, do some lines off our guitar amps and just start like real like Miles Davis level like you know like you know what I'm saying, that's just how I was feeling. Like Miles Davis is really like my top 3 favorite artists for real. Like
Miles Davis, and who?
Damn, I mean 3. I guess at that point is hard. Like
it's fucking hard just to do 3.
I do like 6 or something. Like I would say probably my most played shit would be like Miles Davis. The Doors, Jimi Hendrix, fucking more modern, I guess, like Avenged Sevenfold, Ariel Pink, fucking Rick James. That's not modern, but he's one of my favorite. Like it's just certain shit that I always go back to. I look at the life of somebody for real. Like it's not to me like all shit in one genre is not created the same. Like it's not equal. Like some people, they don't care about that shit. They're just, oh, if I like classic rock, I like classic rock. Like if I like jazz, I like jazz. Jazz probably has a better, at least in its era when it was like alive, you know what I'm saying? It had a better maybe ratio of people that led interesting, you know, sacrificial lives for real, because that just was the lifestyle to be a jazz musician in fucking the 1940s or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Your life
big
was
big band shit.
I don't like big band music, but like, cause there's not as much improvisation. I mean, like really to me, like jazz really that I'm into starts with like Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie, And if you know about like Charlie Parker, like, you know what I'm saying, he was bad off on drugs and like would just like, you know, at some point, you know, the band he was playing with though, like got moved out to Cali, you know what I'm saying? Because they would gig in New York and he was like a god in New York kind of, but maybe without really just getting paid for it. But they like opened up a venue that was named after him, but he wasn't allowed in it. You know what I'm saying? Because he would be...
He's so geek.
Yeah, type shit. And they went out to Cali, like, you know, and he... They weren't digging it out there because, like, people weren't even, like, hip to that kind of jazz out there yet. So the whole band was, like, finna leave to go back. And he pawned his ticket. He pawned away a lot of the rights to his music. I'm not glorifying that at all, but point being, like, he was... You know what I'm saying? He really... And he was probably more innovative than like a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? And he definitely was one of the first people Miles played with. Miles was really the first jazz musician to really like cross over because he made it into the late 60s, early 70s. And like Bill Graham, the concert promoter who was like booking the Dead and shit, would also like put Miles on those shows like to expose like the younger like counterculture kids like to him. And he would be mad at first. He would be like, shit, I don't want to play for all these fucking like hippies type shit. But then when he seen the check coming in, like he was a turn ass motherfucker. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was known for driving Ferraris and Lambos and just like, you know what I'm saying? Miles Davis was a bad motherfucker. Like, but he hit like a point in like 1969 to like 1973 where like he just made some of like the best music ever. Like I like his chill shit too. Like he had kind of like me right now, how I say I have like almost two legendary ways. The one I'm making right now, but the one I made before, like his career kind of split into like when he was on like he innovated kind of the laid back cool style of jazz, but then come like 69, like what you said, like with that freeform jazz, like the 10 people on stage, yeah, that type of shit. Exactly.
It's almost like someone's like got a fucking solo, you know, on their guitar, but it's like the fucking flute or some shit like that.
Right. Shit, he was bringing in guitarists too, because he was influenced by Jimmy. He was friends with Jimmy, so they were supposed to make an album. That would have been the best album ever.
Probably, bro. Tell me about Thumb Nugget, man.
Okay, that was me, Believe, and Mondo the Moonrock, and that was like, you know, Mondo. He had a different name. I used to have a different name, but that was before Thumb Nugget. Like that was that group.
What
I told
were
you
your
about
names before.
Don't even worry about that.
We'll skip that name then.
But I would embarrass myself, but I'm not gonna drag him in with me. And so, but so like that was pretty much the next stage. Like Thumb Nugget, we were still doing like comedy rap. We wasn't taking ourselves seriously, but musically it had started to get a little doper. Like Believe added the aspect of us being able to have our own visuals, and then like
very important.
He also like brought just kind of a different type of style to the beats, because like he was just more, you know, he never got down with like he was probably a more like cool kid in high school, like, you know what I'm saying, like he always teases me to this day, like, shit, I never had a metal phase. Shit, I never had a serial killer phase. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where I was into all, you know what I'm saying? So he kind of like brought us down into like being maybe more like accessible to people. Like, and we started, and obviously just being older and starting to experiment with psychedelics and shit. We was just kind of putting that into the shit. Like,
I mean, shit, you are the prince of the psychedelic underground.
Yeah, I am.
What you got this tattoo on your neck? They can't see it. They can see it on your video though. It says Bad Trip.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Well, I'm the prince of the psychedelic underground. I'm also Mr. Bad Trip. So like,
Mr. Bad Trip, huh?
Yeah. It basically just means like, if you look into like shamanic culture and shit, because it's like, that's the other thing is like, in my Instagram, not my name, but you know how you have a name in your bio?
Yes.
My shit is Paranoid Shamanic, because, you know, basically what they say is that in other cultures. I think the person that this is like attributed to is Terrence McKenna.
Tell me a little about Terrence McKenna.
I don't know how I feel about him no more, because it's a lot of like the people that's considered trip gods. Like, even if you ever heard the Thumb Nugget song Trip God, it's a lot of people we was paying homage to, or even in Dose Money Silly Hat Cypher.
And they considered him a trip god.
We was shouting out a lot of like basically old motherfuckers that's like a lot of psychedelic knowledge gets like ascribed to. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And a lot of them was pioneers in their own sense, and you know, I probably couldn't be me without them. But at the same time, like, my psychedelic idols have changed over the years. Like, like Hunter S. Thompson doesn't disappoint me. And I think I've talked about this in an interview before, but his lawyer, Oscar Acosta, was like a real street motherfucker from what they call the Assland, which is
the Assland?
The ass with the ZTLAN. It refers to like all the, you know how talk about like the Mexican American border, but how like the border jumped them, like, you know what I'm saying, all this shit used to be Mexico before the so they call the area of Southern California like New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas, they call that shit the Assland. Like, and some people like that's from they rep that because they're like, I'm not American, I'm literally like, my people was here for hundreds of years and I'm this, but I'm technically in America. I'm not in Mexico legally. Like, so he was that, but so like he was like a lawyer for like a lot of East LA, like, you know, just like turn motherfuckers in the La Raza movement. And like the thing is, like, psychedelics kind of got pried out of the hands of revolutionaries and redirected by, you know, the government or the powers that be for convenience. So like, you know, there was taking something that we used to use or still do as something medicinal or to help, and making it now into something that's bad or something that's illegal, and we need to get rid of it. Is that what you mean? Like government? Because if they had tried to take, they're smarter than that. Wow, we're going in so many directions right now, but it's the reality of like Brave New World versus 1984. Yes, the government does its share of like
Big Brother shit.
1984 is the Big Brother shit. That's a government where they change history, they change the textbooks, they withhold information from the common people. Yeah. But Brave New World, that was written by Aldous Huxley, you know, 20-some years before 1984. And that's a dystopia in which the people don't need, or the government doesn't need to spend all that money and go through all those efforts to change the textbooks and shit, because they realize all they have to do is give people pills and sex. You know what I'm saying? It's really way more simple. Like, you know, 1984, they got the telescreen, like your TV is spying on you, shit like that. And, you know, there's a lot of that going on and they used to write each other. Aldous Huxley and fucking George Orwell used to write each other letters like, well, we'll find out, like, time will tell, like, which of us has a better, like, depiction of the future.
That's fucking sick. Yeah. I'd love to read those.
The letters between them and shit, you know, because they were, you know, Aldous Huxley, his eyesight was pretty much failing. He was pretty much on his deathbed when he read 1984, and he wrote George Orwell and told him, like, great book, but I still think that you're tripping if you think the government needs to do all that to fucking make people stupid and obedient. Like, we could literally just give people sex and drugs and they're not gonna revolt. Like, but the drugs in Brave New World were not psychedelics. It was called Soma. But I know there's an actual drug called Soma now. It's not that. Like, what they describe in Brave New World is like, they describe basically like a like Xanax and Adderall in one. Like, you know what I'm saying? You up and you numb and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a perfect feel-good pill. And it's actually encouraged. Whereas in 1984, the girls wore the chastity belts, and they was like, you know, had to play like virgins or whatever, fucking in Brave New World, the girls were literally indoctrinated to fuck whoever. They'd be like, oh, you ain't had him yet, or, you know, the dudes would be like, you ain't had her yet, and, you know, they was just literally having complete casual sex. You were not allowed to be in like a dating relationship. You could only have casual sex. So if you caught feelings in that society, you would be punished. Like, but
That's fucking wild, bro.
It's some trippy shit. But so I said that to say, no, like the government realized that it wasn't that they could be like, yeah, don't do this is bad, but that makes people want to do shit. Instead, like, they realized it was way easier than that. So basically, like, what I was saying is like, psychedelics used to be in, you know, in like the Black and Latino communities and shit. Like, they were embraced by the Panthers, by the La Raza movement, and that shit kind of got just twisted, and somehow by 1980, acid was just looked at like as some festival shit, some privilege, some
bullshit.
And so it's like all them nonsense. And it's like all them hippie kids, a lot of those like counterculture, like hippie white kids from like the 60s was really in college on like their parents' dime, and they thought they was doing something. But when the shit got gritty, they just wasn't built like that, or they wasn't raised like that. So like a lot of these like a lot of these people that's hailed as psychedelic icons, when any like type of like consequences or scrutiny from the government ever came down, they really acted shaky, or they really faltered. And, you know, none of that can be ever truly confirmed in fact. You know, a lot of it is speculation, but, you know, if enough people say one thing. So that's why I don't just embrace like the people that's pretty much your entry level, like psychedelic, like.
Right, they just experimented a couple times.
No, it's not that they just experiment. They trip their ass off, and if nothing else, like scientifically, they'll let you know, like, yes, you can trip this often and talk completely coherent. But, you know, I'm not worried about being a fucking science experiment. I'm worried about fucking spirit. You know what I'm saying? So, point being, though, like, Hunter S. Thompson, he a real motherfucker. He's solid. Fucking his lawyer, Oscar Acosta. Oh, yeah, appreciate that. Was real solid. But Hunter S. Thompson's lawyer, Oscar Acosta, like, he used to, legend has it, or as Hunter S. Thompson even, even would say, like this fool used to, like, he would be up all night, like, taking acid and mescaline, drinking whiskey, turned the fuck up.
Yeah.
They would get so fried, like, they would, like, go fucking throw a fucking Molotov cocktail through a judge's window, and then wipe the sweat off, put a suit on, and he would go argue. He would go defend, you know, a poor person in front of the same judge the next day, straight faced, like, you know what I'm saying, all business, like. Yeah. And so, like, you know, that was his thing, like, you know what I'm saying, providing legal counsel for people that couldn't otherwise get it. And, you know, he was like really like a notorious like public enemy for that reason. It was just a lot of shit.
Yeah, they don't like that shit.
He mysteriously disappeared in Sinaloa, you know, and like right before Fear.
Huh?
Yeah, people don't know if you know, it could have been some shit gone bad. It could have been him. It could have been on purpose. Him just falling off of American society. It could have been a lot of things, but you know, it was right before Fear and Loathing got published, like the book, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, the book was the extended version of some shit that had appeared in Rolling Stone. That's who Hunter S. Thompson would write for. Yeah. And so they had hella, like, New York lawyers, like, you know, proofreading everything before it came out and making sure there wasn't going to be no lawsuits. So when that shit came out, you know, that hit Hunter S. Thompson, and it was like, yo, like, your lawyer has to sign off on this, bro. Like, we got somebody that's a practicing, like, past the bar ass lawyer being basically incriminated in your book for all types of, like, credit card fraud and fucking
scamming.
Just right. Fear and Loathing was the early Detroit shit. But no, but like they were like, you know, we gotta send this to him and get him to sign off on it. So they sent it to him, and the crazy thing is, like, his issue was not with any of the shit that he could have been incriminated for or him, like, being disbarred. It was literally that Hunter S. Thompson, to protect him, changed his identity. You know what I'm saying? He, like, basically describes him in the book as a 250-pound Samoan when he was like, yo, in reality, I'm a 220-pound Mexican American. You feel me? So
yeah,
when all said and done, like, we all gonna be dead one day. Like, so when the people but this book gonna live on, so I want people to know who the fuck I am. And that was his issue with it. Like, so, but he's, regardless, you know what I'm saying, before he even, you know, could sign off on it or not, you know, he was missing and shit. But, you know, it's pretty much commonly understood, like, because it's such a cult fan base of that movie and shit. That anybody that's like, okay, this one dude is Hunter S. Thompson, but he's saying his name is Raul Duke. So this other dude's name, they're saying, is Dr. Gonzo. Who is Dr. I know Raul Duke is Hunter S. Thompson, so Dr. Gonzo is fill in the blank, and they look it up and they find out that's Oscar Acosta. They look into him, they find out he wrote a book called The Tale of the Brown Buffalo, and you know what I'm saying, he was just a political, point of being, he was a psychedelic political revolutionary. And as time went by and people died off in the 60s, people that was, you know, affiliated with the Panthers and shit, like Jimi Hendrix, you know, that there's conspiracies around their deaths and shit. And it's like, you know, they pretty much stripped psychedelics from, they took the revolution out of psychedelics, and a lot of the fucking shit that prevails is, a lot of the culture that prevails is just very brainwashy, like, music festival music, like, but
do you think that takes away some of the power?
Well, shit.
Or some of the influence that it used to have since they did that?
Nah, because it could be brought back just as easily by people like me and my friends and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why, but so that's what I was saying about the shamanic, to bring it back to the original question, is like, Terrence McKenna said that, you know, he brought to the attention that, you know, psychedelics, you know, not acid obviously was made, like, you know, in the 1900s, but but like mushrooms, all the DMT, all the naturally occurring shit has been used by, like, you know, by cultures, by whatever tribes, native.
Even now, I'm pretty sure that I think it was in Colorado, they're starting to really see the benefits. I think psychologists are like putting people on shrooms and having them trip a little bit to, like, really help them with their PTSD or some of their problems.
Oh yeah,
you know?
for sure. And I would, you know what I'm saying, I could talk about that too, but
I love shrooms, by the way.
For sure.
My favorite.
Yeah, for sure. But so that shrooms have been around for thousands of years, but, you know, the PTSD treatment, you know, that's more of like controlled dosages, or maybe just like whatever,
micro, maybe.
But the point, but I don't know, sometimes it'd be that powerful trip that really relieves your stress, like the next week or so. But you know, but all these cultures, you know, used to use psychedelics and really self-induced, not a bad trip, but if you want to really talk to the spirits, if you want to really talk about the history of sorcery and you know, the powers that was being tapped, shamanism, period, like, but so
tapping into the spiritual.
But so what Terrence McKenna used to say is that, you know, people that would exhibit signs of what we in our Western American culture would call schizophrenia, you know, oh, they're talking about shit that doesn't make sense, or they're talking about shit that seems to come from another world. That shit would have actually been embraced, you know, in other ancient cultures or just, you know, in other places as, oh, if they're talking about some otherworldly shit, maybe we should like listen to them, try to hear what their dreams are about. And he made the point that these people were actually like, you know, put on a pedestal as dreamers, and the whole tribe would listen to them and try to like surmise what they could from you know, from that shit. Whereas, you know, we medicate these people and we tell them to turn their brains off. We say, no, don't talk about what you saw in your dream last night. Take this fucking
Ambien.
Serotonin, reuptake inhibitor, you know what I'm saying, and shut your brain off. Take this Prozac, this Zoloft, like, and that's where these school shooters are coming from, is kids that's medicated on this bullshit. Like,
true. That's a good point when you made that point, like, with schizophrenia. It's like when you have a 12-year-old kid. They can't sit through class without getting a little hyper. Mm-hmm. Oh, now he's got a mental disorder.
Right.
He's got a learning disorder. Like, maybe he's not meant to just sit and learn about this shit he's never going to use or she's never going to use.
Right.
Like, why does it have to be a disease? You know what I mean? Like, people are just different.
Yeah.
You know?
That book, that DSM-4 fucks a lot of people's lives up because, like, you got to think, bro, as a drug user, as a person that's recreationally used every fucking drug, how are you going to tell me that Adderall is not just a cleaner crystal meth? Like, how are you, like, can't tell me that. I know that for a fact. Like, you know what I'm saying? That shit is speed. You take Adderall, you get high as fuck. If I snort a fucking line of Adderall, I could party and drink all night. But y'all got fucking 10-year-old kids eating this, and what type of bar is that raising in their brain? You're fucking their serotonin. They're fucking the things that you
growing
the
too,
things
like,
that you go through life that make you naturally happy, that make you enjoy life, like the pleasure that gets released when you take a bite of food, or the pleasure that gets released when you, like, you know what I'm saying, fuck a bitch or something, like those.
See a fucking awesome movie.
That shit, you know what I'm saying,
but that shit, Goldface Money song, man.
But that should take you from here to here. And, you know, we're meant to probably only sometimes go from here to here, but, you know, especially while growing, you know what I'm saying? So them drugs take you from here to here. And, you know, if you could do that responsibly as an adult and then go through a month of, like, maybe feeling kind of shit, or like a couple hangover days or whatever, and do it right, you know, so where you don't get, like, too dependent on, but, like, you're telling a 10-year-old every day, you go to school every day, so you're telling them every day, go from here to here until there is no here to here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That one Adderall pill that they took every day from 5th grade through 8th grade, and then now they're starting high school where people do start to, like, party and experiment, and that Adderall, if an Adderall is only now taking you from here to here, you feel me? What the fuck do they got to do to fucking... You know what I'm saying? To really raise the bar from there. It's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel
that's
me?
true,
Like,
man. I think Adderall might be the only drug that I can actually admit that I probably abused in my past. Like, I used to eat the fuck out of those and just fucking break the things open, put it on my tongue and shit.
Oh, if it's the extended release and shit, or like the beads and shit.
Yeah. Yo, but I was just so enamored of how I could do that. Go to school, smoke weed all day and still be fine. But then when it was over, it was like,
right.
I had to make sure I'm by a bed and shit.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't eat off it. Like, fuck that. Trying to tell me you gotta eat this pill so you can be good in school, but you're still a growing boy or girl and you're not eating as much.
Right.
Like, come on, bro.
And some people naturally is good at school, and you don't even probably, like, it's some people that whose parents is not even trying to push them to be good in school, and they just gravitate toward that because that's they soul, that's their purpose. Like, but it'd be like our society don't know how to treat the people that just naturally gravitate toward creativity or they artists and shit. Like, we just say, like, nah, like, you need to be medicated. We don't want you thinking too hard.
Yeah,
like,
you're fucked up because you can't do this. So it must be you. It's not us. It's you.
Yeah.
I mean, I always go by saying, like, I'm pretty sure we all should be farming and shit, man. Like, not all of us, but like if you can't do school or whatever, like that's a way we could just, you know, keep work, keep the money flowing, keep people fed. But, you know, people want to go to McDonald's and shit.
I mean, shit, I like the progression of society to an extent, though. I don't think, like, I don't know, like, I love, to certain degrees, I love the American way of life. I love the fact that you could be fucking, like, I don't compare myself to this artist, but this is just like the example that comes to mind. Like in America, you could be riffraff. Like you could be.
Bro, I love riffraff, bro.
No, I love, like, you know what I'm saying. I love riffraff. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying. But just the fact that you could do that and do that, like
success, yeah.
Or just, you know what I'm saying. Like it's like fucking. Like entertainment, like plays, like, you know what I'm saying? But it really be in other countries, like, no, they're like I can't speak to it. I never lived in another country. For all I know, I could just be fed a lot of propaganda. But like, I could imagine there's probably places on this earth where you are not given an opportunity to just cash in on like capitalism and entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Like, just even having the possibility to play professional sports or to do that shit, I just feel like it's just better than not having that. Like, as much shit as is wrong with like certain shit, a lot of places really look up to the American way of life as far as like
the dream and all that.
The American dream is some real shit, but going back to Hunter S. Thompson, what he says in Fear and Loathing, you know, at the beginning, like, this place is full of, like, you know, that's the whole concept of that book, is they go looking for the American dream. And at the beginning he says, like, it's there, but only for those with true grit. Like, the American dream is not the white picket fence and like that type of shit. But the American dream is the fact that you could literally get hired for some reason by Rolling Stone and go run up a bunch of like credit card fraud shit in a stolen rental in fucking Las Vegas, doing every drug known to man. And somehow, like, you know what I'm saying? And just because you had the balls to pull it off, you might actually pull it off. Or you might go to jail.
Yeah.
But, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure everybody that's ever even got caught up and went to jail, it wasn't on their first time doing no shit. Everybody had some fun, like, before.
Of course.
Not every shit. I mean, obviously, it'd be fucked up shit. It'd be kids and shit. You know
oh,
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
you would have to assume it's someone who's been through it, you know what I mean? Like, that's probably the way it goes, you know.
Right.
And then also with all that, it's not, we have it set up. Like, the rules are fine, kind of. But it's the people who are in charge, the people who are scheming and kind of greedy. I think the people who are greedy kind of make it hard, you know, for, I don't know, the chill people. So let's get to it. Why are you the prince of the psychedelic underground? Where did it start? Like, where did you decide, like, boom, I'm the fucking prince, dog. This is it. It's me.
After I mean, it was before, but then it was after I took my lick. It was like, you feel me? But it's like, I'm the representative, you feel me? It's like, I speak for the people that can't even like, you know what I'm saying? It's still be an aspect of, like, you know what I'm saying? Remember I was telling you about, like, when I was like earlier on, like, you feel me? It'd be like, but
and what else did you say? There was Trip Kings or Psychedelic Kings?
I use the term, like, we always used to use the term trip gods for people that was like legendary or like influenced the common wisdom or the common knowledge of like psychedelic culture. But for
what makes you qualified for trip god status?
Man, you could ask anybody, because ain't nobody ever finna take that from me or try to fucking play me or say that. Like, I remember 2014. You gotta think it's 2020 now that when we're doing this interview. Like, 2014, bro, I already had like been establishing myself, and you know, we was in Denver, and There's actually an old ass interview that got took off the internet, but somebody just gifted it to me on a flash drive.
Really?
The person that took it off, that had put it up, took it off. 5 years later, they came to a show of mine in like Toledo, gifted it to me on a flash drive. I was like, "What is this?" Like, they're like, "It's the interview." Like, it had other aspects of the interview too that I had long not seen, but the part that they had posted was an aspect of this story. But I guess they didn't like that they were like putting me in the. They felt like they felt like regretful that they focused too much on like drugs in their, whatever. But that'd be what people want to hear sometimes.
But wait, I mean, it's not just about the drugs and the cool shit. We're just trying to like
So
they're throwing dirt on stuff and they're twisting stuff up. So we need someone like you to come on my show, and we just gotta talk about it so people understand.
Right. No, I feel you. So I won't even tell that whole story because I'm gonna re-upload the clip of like the actual edit of that story, like in all the funny aspects. But long story short, you know what I'm saying, it was like a crew, like, at a show that was like, in general, like, it's part of that culture, but I don't necessarily agree with how they do that shit because you never know how someone gonna react. Like, but their thing is to like test people, to puddle people. So I was claiming everything I was claiming, you feel me? And so I go to another state where they do shit big like that for real in Denver, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, they mad, like, they girlfriends probably listen to me or something, like, I just whatever it is that they felt like, or it could have been out of straight love, but like I just felt the tinge of like they wanted to see me, like if it's sink or swim, they wanted to see me sink. Like, so basically, like, you know what I'm saying, they puddled the fuck out of me, like about like 30 hits, like, of liquid.
And puddle, what's puddled?
Puddle means because it was liquid. It's like a vial of liquid acid. Like,
okay,
you know what I'm saying? And they just like
you like a little beaker, right? And you go like bloop, like under your tongue. Is that how it works? I never done.
Yeah. The funniest thing just though was like, it probably had in some way, shape, or form been theirs. Then we had it on us, and they bought it back from us just to do that at like a far inflated price. Cause you know what I'm saying, we was all the way in Colorado, so it's like we know we was gonna go back home and do what we did with it. So it's like, oh, y'all want a vial, like it's $5, like, you know what I'm saying? In Colorado, you tell somebody $5 for a vial of a sheet, like they have every right to fucking smack you in the face or some shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But we told them $5 and they just said, all right, here's 5 crispy blues. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then they took that shit and literally, they paid us $500 and turned around and basically poured half of it in my mouth. You know what I'm saying?
What the fuck?
Like, so at that point, it's like, you can't say if it's hate or love, or you can't say what it is. And it was a crew, so I can't like ascribe it to any one person. But the point being, it
is hard to figure out if it's hate or love sometimes, because people will kind of fanboy you a little bit, but as soon as you're gone, they're like, again, trying to see you kind of sink a little bit or talking down on you. It's hard sometimes.
So, like, you know how I saw they probably would have loved to see me lose my shit and not be able to hang. But I had a show after that. We was at a show, and then the official after party for that show I was supposed to perform at, and I performed at, you know what I'm saying, and tripping that hard. Like, and like, that was
when you're tripping and you're performing, what does that feel?
To me, regular, like, because the performance already gonna make it trippy. So, like, tapping in just make it like, I just make it seem like how you're supposed to spiritually experience that event. Especially if it finds you, like, that's another thing in like, in like Mexican Indian sorcery that you could read about is like, you know what I'm saying, you would go on like a spirit walk, and you're not supposed to pick you're not supposed to go looking for the peyote buns. You're supposed to only pick and eat the ones that actually cross your path.
Yes.
Like the ones that come to you. So it'd be the same principle apply to psychedelics in general. Like, you know, if I personally chose to like pour, you know, half a vial in my mouth or some shit, or whatever.
How many hits is half a vial? I feel like that have you tripping for like.
I don't want to say half a vial. Like, that's probably like flogging status. I could have, at that point, it would have been the same, but like, it was like it was a little less than that. But you know what I'm saying, it was some shit that was some shit. Like, they knew it was some shit. They thought it was some shit. It wasn't like they were like, you should do this and it ain't gonna be shit. They really knew that they was putting me out there, and they kept turning around and handing me shrooms and shit after that. Like, and they was like, they was like, we gonna get weird tonight. Like, you feel me? And I was like, you know, yeah, like. But I performed. That was probably my first, like, what I would call like my first punk show ever, in the sense that, you know, it made me just, I was like breaking shit and shit. Yeah. But I was chilling too, like, but behind, you know what I'm saying, when I wasn't performing, you know what I'm saying, I was upstairs at this party, like, just playing guitar, like, you know, I was chilling, like, damn near cross-legged, like, meditate. Yeah, I was chilling. This house was crazy too, but like, that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? We rap, you know, we trying to get through a lot right now, so I ain't good, but but yeah, point being, it'd be like, but it'd be so many instances of that, and then it's like people thought I was playing. Like, you know, I used to talk crazy shit, talk crazy numbers. Like, I wish if it wasn't for my situation, like, cause I see how, like, not trolling, but being an entertainer on like Snapchat and Instagram can get you, like, but it was like when I was in the moment where I could like flex and do like reckless ass shit, because, you know what I'm saying, I wasn't in trouble yet. Like, I fucking I wasn't really doing it because I just wasn't in my phone that much. That'd be the weird thing about psychedelic drugs versus like, you know what I'm saying, it might be like some underground rapper just get off like 5 Xanax and they can just be on Instagram Live for like a long ass time. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would be doing all type of wild, crazy shit, but I would just be like not even feeling like playing that game. Like, I'm not trying to play the clout game right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? But so now it's like I can't do certain shit at all. I can't really show nothing. Like, so it just be like, damn, I should have did that. I should have really documented more shit. But it's like, documenting shit, fuck around, get you indicted. At the same, anybody that's really doing what they say they doing, you know what I'm saying, documenting shit get you indicted. So like, it's not, I don't got shit to prove to no one at this point. But so point being, I feel like it's still a lot of people that maybe knew me when I was younger, or maybe knew me like when I went to like private school for like 2 years, like whatever the fuck, thought that, you know, oh, he's going to regret this, or he's going to regret what he stands for. He's going to go to jail. He going to get scared. He going to come out. He going to recant this shit. He going to start telling people, calling him his government. Like, he not going to be Goldfacemoneywatch and get like, and when they seen that I came out dead sober, same fucking person, talking this, you know what I'm saying? That's how I
same mannerisms.
Just
chill dude,
just talking about the same shit, standing for representing the same shit, even if, you know, people go through phases with their situations of, you know, what they could do at the time. But so it's like, you know, like I said, it's so many young cats that's ready to step in and fill that role at any time. So it's like it's at the point where my influence is so big nationally that it's like, how many young cats you think is getting it in that scene right now that got love for me, that look up to me? So it's like, at any moment in time, I could be dead broke. I could have not, you know what I'm saying, one hit of acid to my name, like just whatever the fuck. It's like, I'm the prince of the psychedelic underground. There's people that's gonna move for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I influence, like, I let people, in this generation, for the people that was tapped in, that thought how it's, because at some point I wondered, had I tripped too much, had I went too far into the other realm and shit, like, to where, like, all the myths that they tell you, like, oh, you can't come back from this, or like, oh, you gonna be fried, can't exist in society, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, people have gone far, they done did shit, they done whatever. I you know what I'm saying, I made a spectacle of it. I made it public. I put it in the camera's eye. Like, I let people watch me. And that's why I don't take shit off the internet. I'm not trying to pretend. Like, y'all could watch the process. You could see me. You could go back and dig up them Thumb Nugget interviews. You could see me look preppy with short hair. Yeah. I don't care. I'm not trying to act like I'm from the streets. I'm not trying to act like any of this shit. All this shit that came in my life came later in life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's just like, it'd be the progression. That'd be the thing that inspires people, because they'd be like, damn, like, you
grew.
I grew, but then also people be looking at in their own personal situations, like with what they're questioning. I done had people just come up to me, like, you know what I'm saying? It be people that fuck around got more clout than me in certain type of ways, like come up to me and be like, bruh, you know how much I look up to you, you know how much you inspire me, like, so it just be like, but when I say I'm the Prince, you know, it's partly music, it's partly that other shit. My big bro fighting a bad motherfucker right now, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's real you know, it's real sacrifices that get made that is not all about the money. That be the difference of why the shit kind of different and why motherfuckers can't just, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, that's cool. You know,
go ahead. To add a little more context, what do you mean your big bro's fighting something?
Shit, like, you know, my big bro, Sack, you know, he really my bro. Like, I call him big bro just in the sense of, like, you know, he
just kind of like
he done did a lot of shit. He done did a lot of shit. You know, yeah.
Looked out.
A lot of him lives through my music, and he done always show me love. Like, anytime I was on my ass, like, you know what I'm saying. Even as recently as like my past birthday, like, you know what I'm saying, when I got out of jail, like, you know what I'm saying, he just, you know what I'm saying,
showed you a good time.
You feel me? Like Cedar Point, like, you know what I'm saying, just all the extras, like, just paying for all the extra, you know, the fast pass, the, like, you know what I'm saying, like, and, you know, it just be cause if you really, you know, but I ain't even gonna speak on him, but because like, his shit very real right now, but it's free Sack, you know what I'm saying?
Free
but
Sack, man.
Like, if I'm the Prince, like, he the Baphomet of the psychedelic underground, like, but you know, that shit people don't be taking. I don't know. I don't want to say too much about that aspect, but you know, it be real shit behind this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, fucking, and my twin uncle Juju too. Like, he rock heavy for this shit. Like, you feel me? He done had just as big of a, you know, we all pick up where each other leave off. You know what I'm saying? We all do, because what you said, the game fucked up. People think it's cool. Like, and I'm not like trying to be preachy or nothing. Like, you feel me? I done did every drug known to man. You feel me? I'm not telling people, like, don't take Xanax, don't, whatever the fuck. I don't care what anybody. I literally, like, in that sense, I'm nihilistic, libertarian. Like, I don't give a fuck what somebody does. That's their choice.
Yeah.
But to me, there is an aspect of, like, just, like, mentally, though. Like, mentally, I just think, like, the current phase of, like, I guess, like, mainstream, what people is, like, popularizing, is just kind of stupid. Like, that shit's not that fun, bro. People wake up in jail after eating 10 Xans to find out that they just fucking, like, got in a car crash and some, you know,
sped off.
Some people, like, but, like, more serious than that. Like, you know what I'm saying? You just not, like, I don't know.
Hey, thank you. No, I'll tell you. You know what I mean? I've been on the Xans and I drank on the Xans, and, like, I don't remember what I was like. I remember I was there. It's like a dream. It's like I'm lucid dreaming.
Right,
you know?
right.
And it's not fun. So you say that shit, I'm off blah and the thing of lean or whatever. It's like it's cool, I guess, but like that shit's fucked up though. It's not like tripping. It's not like just smoking some weed or having a drink. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, everything alcohol could be used like that. Tripping could be
true,
used like
true,
that.
true.
I don't never like to be preachy. I don't want to be preachy at all. People can do whatever they want, but it's like the misinformation. I just be like the misinformation. Like I said, like you know what I'm saying. I used to spend $1,000 a week on coke, like, and I'm not signed to a label. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't stealing or doing anything like that either.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I was getting it in that time period to where I could do that. But imagine if I saved $1,000 a week. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's just,
right.
but like, you just got to think, like, the shit that be, like,
It's
most.
good to say that shit, though.
The shit that be most societally acceptable sometimes, like, it be for a reason that you got to question, like, why is this shit legal or lower consequence? All this shit. Xanax Schedule 4, you know what I'm saying? You get popped with 1,000 bars, like, you feel me? You might as well got caught with like a couple ounces of weed for real. Like, that shit really ain't shit. That shit's Schedule 4, bro.
Oh, wow.
Like,
I know that shit.
doses is, you know what I'm saying, shrooms, all that shit. Schedule 1, like, they don't want people to tap into that shit, but everything has potential for abuse. Everything has potential for, I mean, I guess that shit, other shit has medical potential. I'm sure there's people.
Yeah, for sure. If you do it right. But yeah. So what's okay? So we'll get out there. Yeah, that's deep as fuck, bro. Yo, you're a crazy dude, man. Okay. So what are your I'll tell you. What's your favorite thing to trip on? Favorite.
I mean, most frequently, like, you feel me, acid is just one of those frequent things, but like, you know what I'm saying? You say your shit with shrooms, like,
or like there's there's DMT.
Yeah.
People say that shit's dope.
That shit is definitely awesome. Like, I done been to the point where, like, just had the access to where, like, that's been a casual thing at certain points in my life, and so everything's how you treat it. Like, I remember, like,
wait. Tell me if this is accurate, right? Mm-hmm. My buddy told me this is what DMT's like. He said he hits the shit, he closes his eye, and it feels like he tripped for like a couple hours, but it was like a minute maybe.
Yeah, probably you got to hit it more than that unless you just smack it or take it like in a dab or something. But you have to like, you get yourself to the point where you're ready to like lay back and close your eyes though. Like whether it's like if it's getting passed around, you might like wait till your third time in your roto of just smacking it and then okay, now I'm gonna let myself go. Like, but that shit is just like if you get it once a year or once every 2 years, if you're like a regular person, that's probably how much access you would have to it. Like it comes around one time, you pay whatever you have to pay for it, you probably get waxed on it, but it's gonna be the most significant experience of your life, and you're gonna just be Joe Rogan out here, can't stop asking people talking about that shit. But if you the prince of the psychedelic underground, you know what I'm saying, you around that shit in large quantities during a lot of periods of your life. Like, so
get used to that shit.
It'd be time. Like, I remember when I was younger, before I was who I am, and, you know, I remember smoking DNT at a Fish concert at Bonnaroo in like 2012 or so. Anybody that knows me knows I hate Fish. That thing you was referring to, like, I think that Reddit style discussion, that was on a Fish, that was on a Fish fan forum type thing, because I'm so legendary in that culture, and I don't even like that shit. I hate that band. Like, they're so trash, but like smoking DNT at Bonnaroo had me like somewhat appreciate them a little bit just because the sound quality was so good. Like, but I just remember that being such a significant, I had so many significant ass like thoughts like on that trip, and you know, and it was like spaced out so much, bro. By the time, you know what I'm saying, Dose Money was popping and shit, like I was just around that shit so frequently, like, and then shortly after that, it's times that shit going just an airy blunt, and I remember it'd be time like
I didn't know people put it in the blunt.
If you have enough of it, that's a fat ass waste because tobacco burns at such a high temperature that you're not supposed to burn it at that high of a temperature. You're supposed to kind of vaporize it.
So you won't even get the trip you want. Probably not.
No, you do. If you put a gram of DMT in a 3 gram blunt, like you was gonna blast the fuck off, like period. Like, but who is really out here having a gram of DMT to put in one blunt? You know what I'm saying?
That's
Unless
some crazy party shit.
But shit,
Trying to show out.
this is. But we don't like. I done did that shit many times. Like, you know what I'm saying, or at least been. But I don't know. Like, I'd say I don't know. Ayahuasca is orally ingested DMT. I never did that.
What's that called?
Ayahuasca. That's the thing that people go to South America to do. It's DMT, but they mix it with like an ingredient that makes it orally activated. And I guess you chug that shit, and that'll really have you like open-eyed dreaming for like an hour, whereas DMT will have you close-eyed dreaming for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't know.
That's pretty sick though. No, it's these terms. Open-eyed, closed-eyed dreaming. This is important. And this is only something. This is only someone that's the Prince or the was it Baphomet, or the Odin? You know, one of these could explain to me, because I'm what's it called? I'm green with this stuff. You know, I've only fucked around a little bit, but it's always so interesting. You know,
I only call bro the Baphomet because his full name is Sacrilege. Like,
oh wow,
from like. He would always say like tripping sack, and it turned into like tripping sacrilege. But he was saying that since he was like 17 type shit. Like, and then so like eventually motherfuckers just called him sack. Like, you know what I'm saying? But so people, and then my other bro had just tweeted about how like the GOAT is like the Baphomet. I mean, it's just some stupid ass shit. Yeah. So I just like I just thought that was funny. I was like, what's above like a prince in like medieval culture or something? I was like, the Baphomet. Like, fuck the king. Like the Baphomet. Like. Oh, yeah, sacrilegious,
so many levels.
But yeah, go ahead, dude. You know what I'm saying? Get us through the little.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, I mean, shit. Other than that, I mean, is there anything?
I just don't want it to be too much to sift through. Like.
Oh no, I feel you. Nah, I cut it up. Is there anything we didn't touch here? I think we definitely.
I guess what's coming up. I guess I got GFMW 4 on the way. And that's kind of like my, Go Ties is like a concept album in the sense of like beach theme type shit. GFMW Underground was definitely its dark, you know what I'm saying, sister album. Yeah. But, and 333 was its own thing. That was more of like just like, bouncy, but, GFMW 4 is going to really be in the tradition of it's going to take something from all the different GFMW projects, which like it would be crazy how different those would be from whatever projects I had going on, even separate from them. They're just so gritty and weird. And, those are like my albums that like, the past 3 I would drop on my birthday every year, and it would be kind of like the accumulation, like the kind of autobiographical project I would put out. They would definitely be pretty dark and real psychedelic. Sometimes I would have projects adjacent to those releases, whether with Dose Money or just other collaborations that were way more accessible. GFMW projects, like the series, has always just been for like my true ass cult fans. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm in full GFMW spirit with 4. Like, nobody who's a fan of the series would be disappointed by this but I couldn't have made this when I first got out of jail. Like, it's only been to like right now where I can even like tap into this energy. So it's like super electronic 80s goth new wave influence mixed in with all the same grimy psychedelic trap shit as always. But so that shit's coming, and then my project with Believe is coming out too, and that's gonna probably drop after, but that's a lot more like short to the point. Got a lot of my performance tracks in it that's unreleased. But
like live shit. Hell yeah.
Like, it was made in mind of doing live sometimes with him actually playing live drums behind it, but just super high energy, like up tempo, aggressive, distorted bass type shit, mosh pit shit.
Yeah. And you gotta tell everybody where they can find you, man, on the interwebs.
Oh yeah.
Tags. Drop them tags, boy.
On Instagram, it's just Goldfacemoney. Everything just Goldfacemoneywatch. Like, Google Goldfacemoneywatch. My Twitter probably the only thing that's different. Like, Trippy Goldface.
Yeah.
My Snapchat Goldie drops. Like, those are just kind of like, what's it called? Grandfathered into that shit. But everything else I ever do, bro, just Google me, YouTube me, Goldfacemoneywatch. Like, he was just saying my shit.
Yup.
My shit pop up.
It's easy to find. Well, fucking man, that's the fucking LowRoad 23 Goldfacemoneywatch. That's it, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Hey, you did good, man. This one's gonna be trippy, man.